here at the former World War II airfield, now Snetterton Circuit. It's round 3 for the Thundersport GB Championship 2016.
Welcome to Thundersport Elite then from Snetterton in Norfolk. It's round 3 of the Thundersport GB Championships for 2016. We started the year off at Brands, then to Donington, now to Snetterton, round 3 of the 2016 Championship with Thundersport GB. The Monex Europe Thundersport GP1 grid is here. Over 40 riders have qualified for this one. Some of Britain's best. Josh Day, it is there on pole position, the Crank Racing Kawasaki rider. He's looking to make up some points to try and hunt down this man, Liverpool's Lee Williams, who leads the championship. Further back there is Lee Wilson. He's been on the podium a few times before. A gap on the front row of the grid, but some sturdy competitors in this class and a few familiar names from TT races that you'll recognise, as well as British Championship. On board with Josh Day, away from the line. He's gone very well indeed as they head into turn 1. That's Dave Jackson. Just up behind him, number 156, former Supermoto man, British Championship man, raced a bit with Thundersport as well. Lee Williams has moved up ahead of him, but this is a good rear view from Josh Day then, who has the advantage. Lee Wilson has also got away well. Phil Crow is out there. Phil Crow, the, of course, former GP1 champion. There he is, in fact, just making his way onto the back straight on the PCR BMW, but it's Josh Day that has the advantage from championship leader Lee Williams. Craig Neve, another rider to keep an eye out for, number 4, as they head around Nelson Corner and up towards the bomb hole. So many talented riders all the way through the field here, and a few new names for you as well to Thundersport, but not necessarily to you if you follow racing around. There's number 33, that's Michael Neve, race winner in GP1. Then Jonathan Lodge, likewise. Paul Charman is out there, number 9 on the Yamaha. Sportsman riders. Sportsman riders out there, by the way, for clubman licence holders or national race licence holders that have never raced at a British or World Championship event. Paul Charman at the moment leads that battle ahead of Nick Edgley. This is the fight out front though, we're going around. Well, certainly the long way round there. Lee Williams just outbraked himself a bit into Montreal, the championship leader, and now tries to get back on terms with Josh Day. They're into the 110s already. The lap record's already gone. It's been demolished here. So we just see 164 Matt Stevenson going a bit wide. So Dave Jackson is out there. Yesterday we had Dave Johnson, Australian rider, on the grid, who raced in British Championship, of course races in the TT as well. Nice to see Davo out there, although I think it was him that was missing from the grid at the start of the race. Off board with Josh Day then, looking back at his title rival Lee Williams, getting very close there. Lee Williams, the reigning Formula 600 champion, moving up to the thousands this year. Josh Day, a regular in the British paddock, of course, at Superstock 1000 level, and now trying to get himself the GP1 title here at Thundersport GB. A bit of a tyre war going on as well between 4 or 5 of the riders in this championship, and so it really will be fascinating to see who comes out on top. There's 2 races here today for these guys in this show, in the GP1 category, and then they will of course get themselves prepared for Cadwell Park, be round 4 of the championship. On board again then with Josh Day, looking back at Lee Williams. Gary Johnson's also out there, mentioned him a little while ago, number 70. Of course, Gary Johnson on the reactive engineering BMW, he's getting himself all prepped up, ready for the road racing season ahead and the TT. Gary, who's raced at Thundersport a few times now, and of course British Championship rider. Be interested to see how he gets on at the TT. A lot of riders getting themselves ready for that. As we see there, Lee Williams, just a bit of a wobble on the exit of Murray's. There is number 33, Michael Neves, fighting it out with Mike Brown and Jody Lees. Curtis Rothwell's just outside the top 10. There you see Lodge and number 85 Lees. There's Paul Charman then, number 9 on the Yamaha R1. The leading Sportsman rider, just up ahead on circuit there of Mike Brown and Phil Crow. And once more we go back to the Prime Factors Racing BMW of Michael Neves, who's been tweeting and Facebooking about all of his excursions abroad, road testing motorcycles for MCN as ever. Lovely bloke, Michael Neves, off the circuit, and also a sturdy competitor on it. Won a race at Rockingham last year in this class and has often found his way very close to the podium in a number of other races, and has been on the podium in a number of other races as well. He's got himself in a competitive race here. Out front then it is Josh Day, looking like he's going to be tough to catch here. A 1:10.2 for Josh Day on that lap, and that is a good 0.6 quicker than the lap record that was held by reigning champion Curtis Wright. Across the line there. Riders all inside the top 10, jostling for position, but no one catching Josh Day here. Lee Williams will just try and stay in second place now on the high-tech Kawasaki, but that's quite a big lead now that he's got. Williams fought him earlier on, but unfortunately he's not been able to stay on the shirt tails of Day. I'd love to say that Day leading is a relative of mine, but sadly cannot claim that one. No relative at all, which is probably why he's winning the race. Into the bomb hole we go. We see Gary Johnson going incredibly well. Craig Neve, Dave Jackson. There's Josh Day here on the Crank Racing Kawasaki, looking to get himself more points. There is Gary Johnson, just up ahead of Neves and Neve. And then Dave Jackson just behind them, 156. Dave Jackson, of course, who was it 2011-ish, came into the championship for the first time, having not raced on the tarmac, an ex-Supermoto rider, and was racing against this man here, Phil Crow, the 2010 champion. And there is Gary Johnson, number 70 from Brigg on the Reactive Engineering BMW, leading a strong field here at Thundersport GB. Josh Day just had a bit of bad luck here and there so far at the start of this season, which meant that he came into this weekend a little further behind in the championship than he was hoping, but he's making up for that here and almost collects Richard White there, one of the back markers in the race. This is Craig Neve, number 4, who's now up ahead of Michael Neves, but it's still Crank Racing rider, Kawasaki man, Josh Day, that has the advantage. The last lap flag is out. We understand that Crank Racing and Josh have just sealed a deal with Michelin to do the Irish Roads and the TT. So Josh will be getting himself prepared for that. Here's another man that we'll see at the Isle of Man in the not too distant future. They're going to have to go some way to catch Josh Day here. He's lapping half a second quicker than Lee Williams on every lap, and Gary Johnson at the moment is over a second down on the time that we're seeing here from the race leader. Michael Neves there, just putting a lap on Jonathan Panther. And there's Chris Barnes, number 21, on the AP Broom Racing Kawasaki. Chris has fought for many a podium in the Thundersport GP1 class in his time. So here we go then, just under half a lap to go for Josh Day. A few threats at the start of the race from Lee Williams, but all in all, a pretty perfect race here from the rider that hails from Swindon, and he will take a precious 25 points here, which will really put his championship back on track. He's just coming up here to put a lap on Richard Blunt, who's out on his Golden Era Superbike Kawasaki. He has a look over at him as well as he just moves past him. Lee Williams will take second. It is the win then for Josh Day here at Snetterton. Second place will go to Lee Williams there, number 94, and then a bit of a wait for third place rider. It will be Gary Johnson who takes third place there, ahead of Craig Neve, Dave Jackson and Michael Neves. So the Monex Europe Thundersport GP1 Race 1, Josh Day the winner by 5.5 seconds. Here's the top 3 on the podium. Day, Williams and Gary Johnson. And in the Sportsman class, it is Paul Charman, the winner, from Nick Hedgley and Gary Woodward.
Josh, tricky start to the season, but look, you had a great day yesterday, and maybe was back to the plan.
Yeah, hopefully, Syd. I mean, we've had a bit of bad luck, haven't we? Well, so we've consistently been really quick, always pretty much top of the timesheets, and the lads always work really hard to get the bike as good as they can, and we just had a little bit of bad luck with being disqualified and then a crash, and then the bike broke. So we've lost 75 points, but we're getting those points back. Lee's obviously doing a good job, just keep bringing it home in second. He was quick out there then, but you know, we'll take that after the weekends we've had. Pole, 2 wins so far, and hopefully later we can do the same. Boys are getting quicker, we're getting a little bit quicker, but they're getting a lot quicker, so it's going to be close in the last one. But no, just thanks to Mark and all the team, Rock Oil, Van Sport, Durex, Zoburn, Crank Racing obviously, all my personal sponsors, REP, Performance, North Gloss, Rock Oil themselves. Do you know what I mean? They all put a big effort in to get us here, so big thanks to them. And it's Andy, the mechanic's birthday today, so that's for him, and more importantly it's the missus' birthday, so happy birthday, and I'll give you a trophy later.
Fantastic win again, great day yesterday, you must be well proud.
I'm absolutely over the moon. We're getting closer to the elite guys, that's the plan, to start battling with them guys and hopefully getting podiums, but that's a long way off yet, but the bike is absolutely amazing. I mean, we haven't touched it until this weekend from Brands Hatch. No gearing, no suspension setters or anything. Luckily we've had Phil Seaton here, he's been riding, he's done a few little tweaks for us, and it's made a hell of a difference, so we're going forward. And we're going forward out all the time, so it's absolutely mega. I'm just over the moon and loving racing.
You must have some people to thank then.
Yeah, I'd love to thank Accrington Auto Bodies, Dunsop Trout Farm, Chris Moore, like I say, Phil Seaton, Seaton Tuning, Mum and Dad and my wife Kayla.
It's Snetterton, it's round 3 of the 2016 Thundersport GB Championships, and it's the Monex Europe Thundersport GP1 race coming up here. Josh Day earlier on blasted away from the field and picked up a crucial 25 points for his championship. As he mentioned, he's had a bit of bad luck, but he cannot shake off this man, Lee Williams, who came into Norfolk with the championship lead, number 94. Further back there, you can see Lee Wilson, number 80, Craig Neve. Ooh, a few dark clouds up in the sky there. We'll keep an eye out for that because the riders have started this as a dry race and have all started on dry tyres. There's a gap on the front row. Dave Johnson was here yesterday, not so today. Look to the lights, they go out and away we go. Josh Day then, number 2, winner earlier on. Into turn 1, just ahead of Lee Wilson. Brilliant start there from Lee Wilson on the Willie Wilson Racing Suzuki. Superb stuff from the Derby Phoenix rider. There's Jonathan Lodge, who's slowly but surely trying to get to grips with his machine up ahead of Craig Neve. A few riders getting pushed out wide there though into Montreal. We should take this opportunity as well while we get to the start of this to just send our best wishes to the reigning GP1 champion Curtis Wright, who in testing on Saturday here at Snetterton on the in-competition Aprilia came off and broke both of his wrists. That's a nasty outcome for Curtis, and so we send him our best regards. He'll be missing most certainly for Cadwell Park, most probably Rockingham as well, Alton as well, as we see Phil Crowe there sitting up, maybe running into some trouble early on here. Phil Crowe, of course, one of many riders getting himself prepared, ready for some road racing here this summer. Out front then, Josh Day it is that leads from Lee Williams. The pair of them all going away. Who's fallen there? Down at 867, who's gone down? Mike Brown, and we've got to stop to this. Red flags are out. The race will be completely restarted. Fresh start. Forget what you've seen in part 1. Here we go then, a few more gaps on the grid as we get to the end of this weekend here at Snetterton, and Josh Day is going to have to do it all over again. Number 2, the Crank Racing Kawasaki rider. Earlier on we saw a brilliant start from Lee Wilson from row 2, and there he is, number 80 on the right of your picture. Good start from him again. There's Dave Jackson, number 156, and Lee Williams has just been swallowed up a bit in the early stages of this one. Gary Johnson's got up the inside of him as well. We're on board with Josh Day, who's now in second place, I believe, because Lee Wilson must have got to the front into Montreal. And there's Gary Johnson moving up into third, perhaps, yes. So now Josh Day leads. He's got past Wilson. There is also further back 164 is Stevenson. 26 on that Yamaha is Richard White. Look out for Paul Charman, number 9. He's just in around 8th or 9th place at the moment on that beautiful looking Yamaha R1, and as he said in his interview with Sid earlier, he's getting closer and closer to this bunch. There's Michael Neves, Jonathan Lodge, then Charman, Phil Crowe. Whatever problems he had earlier, looks like he's managed to get back out on circuit again and fix them between the race getting red flagged and restarted. Josh Day then it is that leads this, number 2. Just as he did earlier, Lee Williams has done very well on this opening lap to get himself back up into second place and in contention now for the win again. There's Curtis Rothwell, number 5. Number 77 then go through John Fisher. Nice to see John out there, Pendragon Racing rider, a regular a couple of seasons ago in the GP1 field. Day leads as they exit Ritchie's up towards the Scary Tree at Montreal Corner. Used to be known as Sears, of course, the old Snetterton layout. It's now Montreal for this Snetterton 200 layout. Not the same layout that they use at British Championship, so maybe for the likes of Gary Johnson, this is new. So we will see how some of these guys get on. Here, there's a faller and someone looking a little bit hurt. That's Tustin, Michael Tustin, the familiar purple and white bike, and that's a shame for Mike, the MTR Kawasaki rider, who's a Sportsman rider coming along very nicely in this class, is down and out. Here's your Sportsman Championship leader, Paul Jarman, coming into this weekend. Actually, he was locked on points with Tustin, so that would actually do him a few favours, although we obviously send our best regards to Michael. He looked like he was in a bit of pain there. Josh Day then, number 2, leads from Lee Williams. He was right what he said to Sid in the interview. They are getting closer and closer to him as we cross the line and tick off another lap into Ritchie's corner, the double apex right-hander. A few lumps and bumps through there, then ever so slightly downhill into Montreal. Get your braking zone right and change direction of the machine onto the really important Chapman curve, especially on these big bikes. Get the slipstream if you can, get the power on. It all adds up to extra miles an hour at the end of the straight, and then braking into Brundle. Josh Day just ever so slightly wide there into Brundle corner. And in second place now, Lee Williams coming under attack from Gary Johnson, no less. Former British Championship front runner and regular TT podium taker. He'll be looking to repeat that, of course, when he gets out racing in the Superbike class and Super Stock class at the TT coming up very soon. On to the start-finish straight we go. All helps with the racecraft, this, for Gary Johnson. He's raced at Thundersport a number of times. He's not phased by for the championship. He's always impressed by some of the young guns coming through, and isn't afraid, as quite a well-known rider, to mix it up with one or two new names. So it is still Josh Day. Josh Day on that last lap, a 109.916, the first rider we've ever seen into the 109s at the Snetterton 200 circuit, and that is almost a second under a reigning champion Curtis Wright's old lap record. Astonishing stuff from the Crank Racing Kawasaki rider. Oh dearie me, that is not where you want to be on this circuit there. Dave Jackson getting it a bit wrong on the exit of Nelson, and somehow manages to rejoin. Luckily for him, it'll only take a corner or two to clear that tyre up. Top three are through. There's fourth place Lee Wilson ahead of Dave Jackson. Dave Jackson on the power nice and early out of Murray's. Lee Williams, having come under attack from Gary Johnson, has just settled back into second now. There's Wilson, Jackson and Neves in fourth, fifth and sixth. It's Craig Neve then just behind Michael Neves. Here is Johnson then in third place on that reactive engineering BMW. It's the high-tech Team Willow Kawasaki just up ahead of him of Lee Williams, the Liverpool rider, who again here, even if he doesn't win the race, is looking to try and limit the damage that Josh Day does to him by picking up second place, and he could well leave here as championship leader still. There is Derby Phoenix rider Lee Wilson just up ahead of Dave Jackson, Michael Neves and Craig Neve. Behind those guys is Jonathan Lodge, then it's Jody Leeds and Paul Charman, Curtis Rothwell, Phil Crow, Rob Hodson, Gary Woodward is currently second in the Sportsman class ahead of Nick Edgley, and they're outright just inside the top 15. There is Curtis Rothwell, a former Mini Twins champion with Thundersport GB, just up ahead of former GP1 champion Phil Crow, and they're chasing down this man here on that Yamaha, Paul Charman, who just gets more and more confident as each race goes by. Gary Johnson in third, just dropping into the late 110s at the moment and unable to stay with Lee Williams, who in turn has been able to match the pace of Josh Day out front in the last few laps, although he'll do well to close that gap of 2 or 3 seconds down, because Josh Day doesn't look like he's put a foot wrong really as yet. Here's the battle for fourth, continuing. Lee Wilson, Dave Jackson, Michael Neves. All of those riders on BMWs. 2 Kawasaki's out front. There is Wilson then again. Craig Neve at the back of that group. Kawasaki rider, the Coolmac Flexi Hydraulic Kawasaki rider Craig Neve, who won't be able to attend every round this season but is hoping to be as competitive as possible. Craig will be looking forward to Cadwell next time out. Good rider at Cadwell is Craig Neve. That's if he can make it. He did say he was going to miss 1 or 2 rounds. Maybe Cadwell is one of them. Come to the closing stages then of this second Monex Europe Thundersport GP1 race. There's so much talent in this field this season, but Josh Day and Lee Williams really have been the standout performers. You got the impression, didn't you, from Josh Day earlier? He just feels very, very confident at the moment, and he could be on to pick up another trophy here in race 2. There's Curtis Rothwell just trying to close up on Paul Charman in the latter stage of this race. Paul Charman can't lose his Sportsman lead, even if he loses the spot there to Curtis Rothwell on the closing stages of this race. Across the line we go. Last lap for Josh Day, Lee Williams and Gary Johnson. Tail ender there is number 105, James Vevers. Then we have this battle for fourth, which looks like it could go all the way to the wire. Lee Wilson and Dave Jackson. And it's Josh Day then, just going through the motions. He can't afford to completely roll off on the final lap. I mean, he's got a handsome lead, but it's only, what, 2 or 3 seconds clear of Lee Williams this time, unlike race 1. Up towards the bomb hole here at Snetterton, and then just a couple of corners left now for Day to pick up a full house of victories for the first time in 2016. A win yesterday, a win this morning, and now 3 wins out of 3 for Crank Racing Kawasaki rider Josh Day. Lee Williams flirts with the grass there on the exit of Murray's, but he will take a crucial 2nd place. And I think, if my maths are right, he should just hang on to the championship lead with that. Gary Johnson takes 3rd place there on the BMW, and it's Dave Jackson who on the final lap got the job done on Lee Wilson. Michael Neves there in 6th place, managed to finish ahead of Craig Neve, Jonathan Lodge, Jody Lees and Paul Charman. Top 3 outright then there, Josh Day, Lee Williams and Gary Johnson. And the Sportsman class, Paul Charman, Gary Woodward and Nick Edgley. Let's have a look at those championship standings then. Lee Williams it is that still has the outright lead, 26-point advantage going into Cadwell Park. Josh Day just nudges himself ahead of Craig Neve then, with Michael Neves in 4th, and in the Sportsman, Paul Charman with a 59-point advantage over Michael Tustin, who sadly didn't finish that race, with Matt Stevenson in 3rd, then Ash Stone, Sonny Martin. That's it from us here at Snetterton then. Round 3 done and dusted. Round 4, well, you'll have to join us for that one. It's Cadwell Park up next.